Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description below where you will find links to anything I talk about on this video, including how to get my patterns to knit up for yourself, how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, and how to support me on Patreon. Today, I have a little bit of a vlog for you. First off, the thing I'm going to say is I have done, the drawing for the Easy Knits for Beautiful Yarns. Thank you all who watched that video and who entered the giveaway. I went to Rafflecopter. I clicked the randomly select a winner, and congratulations to Selena of Texas. That's all the information I'm going to give, but this is the package. It is packaged up. This is what's inside it, but a brand new version in bubble wrap, and this will be going out to you this week. So again, congratulations and thank everyone for entering. It was super fun. I love giving things away. If you were waiting on whether or not you were going to grab the book to see if you got it, go out and get it now because it is a gorgeous book. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk to y'all about today is online classes. Okay, hang on. I got something over here I got to close so I can make sure I have all the information over here. So, one of the super fun things that has come out of everyone learning how to Zoom is it has really expanded the appeal and reach of online learning and like live classes via the interwebs and video. And I have been teaching classes through the store I work at, A Good Yarn Sarasota, via Zoom. And I'm actually expanding out a little bit to teach through some other stores. So we're in different time zones and they're at different times where other people might be able to catch it. It is really fun. It's interesting though. It is very different than teaching in person because when I'm teaching in person, I can put my hands on your hands and kind of walk you through it. But the way I do my online videos is I have this little thing right here that I mount my iPhone to. And when I'm in Zoom as me, but I'm also in Zoom as my iPhone so that it's pointed at my hand so you can see what I'm doing up close, just like when I'm making tutorial videos here on YouTube, except you can ask me questions. You can say, hey, go back and do that again. Or if I miss something, I can do it again, follow it up, change it up a little bit. So it's sort of like being on these videos with y'all, but interactive because I get to talk to you, and it is awesome for me because I get to see y'all's faces and talk to you, and it's just great. I have learned some things. One thing that I learned that was really interesting is how much I rely on people's facial expressions and their body language to understand if they're really getting what I'm teaching. Because oftentimes people are too shy to really say that they're not quite getting something, but I can tell by the set of their shoulders or by the face they're making or by how many times they've rolled their eyes at me that it's not quite clicking. With Zoom, I have to ask people for more audible responses, and I'm constantly checking in because people, when they're in these video calls, when they're in these Zooms, they kind of assume this sort of blank, I'm watching TV face. So they're all like, and I can't tell if they're getting it or they're sitting there and they're knitting like this, and I'm just not really quite able to read them. But I've been doing this I started in the middle of last summer, so coming up on probably 9 months, and I'm feeling like I'm getting a pretty good handle on it. So I'm really excited, and I promised, people have mentioned in the comments that they wanted to know when new classes are going to be available. So that is what this video is for. So first off, I'm actually teaching through a really cool store that I've never been to, which is what is amazing about this internet thing. I actually met them. It's a company, a store called String Theory Yarn Company, just outside of Chicago in Illinois. And I was on Instagram and saw something posted where they were going to do a knit along using one of my patterns. I was like, that's really cool. So I contacted them to see if there's any way I could help out. And I ended up making a guest appearance in their Zoom class when they were doing the knit along for a good scarf. And I got to talking to them, and now I'm going to be teaching a couple of classes through them. And so this will be on Central Time, and it's going to be on Sundays. Typically when I teach weekends with A Good Yarn, it's on Saturdays. So this is if the Saturday classes have been conflicting with your schedules, or if the times didn't work. Usually it's Saturday mornings. These are going to be Sunday afternoons Central Time. This might click with your schedule better. So the first class I'm going to be teaching with them, and I have it over here on my computer, my other computer screen, so I can tell you the correct information, is going to be Sunday, April 25th from 2 to 5 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to be teaching my blocking class. This is my most popular class, which seems a little bit on the unbelievable side, but blocking, there's so much to learn in blocking. And for those of y'all who have made comments that you want to know more about yarn and fibers, the fibers in yarn and how it interacts with your knitting, that is a huge chunk of this class because it's looking at blocking through the viewpoint of the yarn and what that yarn needs for its blocking and how it's going to behave in blocking and how to match it up with the right kinds of projects and the right kind of fabric textures to give yourself your best chance at success. So I cover blocking tools, blocking techniques, but also blocking via fiber content, blocking via project type, and blocking via what your fabric is, like cables, lace, whatever. So it's a 3-hour class. It is pretty darn extensive. So that might be one for you. I will put a link in the description below to the String Theory website. So if you want to check that one out. And then on Sunday, May 16th, 3 to 5 Central Time p.m. I'm going to be teaching a 2-hour class that's going to be cast on and bind off. And what we'll do is we'll spend an hour doing and talking about cast-ons. We'll do several different cast-ons. Some you might have already done, some that hopefully will be new to you. But even if you've already done them, I might have some tips or tricks that you don't know yet. And then the second hour will be binding off, and we'll do the same thing. And we'll talk about properties, different properties to think about in both cast-ons and bind-offs, and which kinds of cast-ons and binds-off are appropriate for different project types. So that's cast on and bind off, Sunday, May 16th, 3 to 5 p.m. Central Time. So those links are going to be the String Theory links in the description below. Now, with A Good Yarn Sarasota, I teach 1-hour-long classes on Tuesday nights, Tuesday evenings. They're from 5 to 6 Eastern Standard Time, and we call it Technique Tuesday. And what it's focused on is just learning like one specific thing, because it's in the middle, it's Tuesday, so it's not quite the middle of the week, but we all have, limited brain power at any given time. We've been working on stuff and trying to do stuff. So, I try not to be too challenging. So we've done some really fun classes like increases, decreases, cables, lace, just basic introductory ideas for things. And I'm taking a break this month, and then beginning in May, we're starting up a new concept, and I'm calling it the Fancy Stitch Club. Now, what the Fancy Stitch Club is everybody, we've got knit. we've got purl, we probably have knit two together, slip, slip, knit, some increases, some decreases, but there are stitches out there that look really, really cool. Okay, they look neat. I might pop up a picture of an example here, and they're not necessarily difficult to do, not to execute, but they're kind of difficult to explain in words in a pattern, like typing out the instructions, because you gotta move this over here, and then you put this over there, and you slip this over here. It's harder to explain than it is to physically demonstrate with needles and yarn. And it's one of those things that is harder to understand via reading the instructions than to demonstrate. And there's some things that I have done here on the YouTube channel that are like this. But what this is each class, each Tuesday, we will be attacking a different type of fancy stitch. Now, it might be a stitch family or a technique that we are using to that can be applied to multiple different stitches, or it might just focus on one specific stitch and how to do it, like maybe something out of a Japanese stitch dictionary. I'm planning on doing this for a couple of months, so who knows what we'll get into. But what I do know is I have the first month planned. So May 4th will be the first one, and what we're doing is slipped and lifted. And what I mean by that is there are stitches where you slip stitches with either the yarn held in front or the yarn held in back. And then on later rows, you manipulate, it creates a bar across the fabric, and you manipulate that bar for a lot of really interesting effects. It creates like surface embroidery looking effects, but also it can distort your fabric. So that is super cool. So that's May 4th. Is slipped and lifted. Then May 11th, I'm going to do crossed stitches. And what cross stitches are is, again, it's a multi-wrap stitch that you drop the wraps and then you cross them inside each other. And again, hard to explain, not so difficult to do once you see what we're talking about. And that's one way. They're neat. They're frequently used to create mock cables or just really beautiful effects. So May 11th is crossed stitches. May 18th is cinched stitches. Cinched stitches are coming out of a lot of the Japanese stitch dictionaries. And again, it's manipulating a stitch and passing it over and going through, and it creates really, really interesting looking effects. And what it is it frequently is creating a horizontal bar, which you don't see a lot of in knitting, because the knit stitches look a specific way, and getting the knit stitch to go horizontally or at an angle is different. So May 18th is cinched stitches, and then May 25th is we're going to do 2 flower stitches. And it's not a stitch with 2 flowers, it's 2 different flowered stitches. One we're going to do is called the flower stitch, or some people the row of flower stitch. It's also called the dandelion stitch. It involves elongating and slipping and wrapping and kind of doing crazy stuff to it. It's a lot of fun once you get it down, and it's absolutely beautiful. And then we're going to do another one that's sometimes called the daisy stitch, sometimes it's called the star stitch. But again, it involves just a little extra manipulation. And so what we'll do in this class is you'll have a little bit of homework where you cast on enough stitches so we can work a swatch, and I'll just work with you through these techniques so that you can then be able to tackle this style of stitch when you find it in a pattern. Or you know what, once you know it, you might add it into existing patterns because it's fun. It's always exciting to tinker with things and make them your own. So that is the first month of the Fancy Stitch Club. To take any or all of these classes, you need to go, there'll be a link in the description below, to the A Good Yarn Sarasota website. and there's a Technique Tuesdays button that will take you directly there, and then you have to go through their class reservation system to sign up for the class. The Tuesday night classes are $10 a piece for the 1 hour class. I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't think I've ever finished in 1 hour. I mean, I get it done in an hour, but we tend to have a little bit of chitty chatting going on, and we kind of run over into like maybe more 6:15 ish, but 5 to 6 is the official time. So if you have ever wanted to stop one of my tutorial videos and ask me a question, this would be your opportunity. It's pretty much like that, because I'm sitting in the same spot. I've got the same backdrop. I've got the same lighting. It's just we're on Zoom and we're all in our little Brady Bunch arrangement, and it is a lot of fun. There are several wonderful knitters that have taken a couple of classes, and getting to know y'all has been a true joy over the last months. So I hope I'll see you in either the string theory classes for blocking and casting on binding off, or maybe you'll join the Fancy Stitch Club and we can see what kind of mischief we can manage. Okay, so I hope you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select the notifications, the little bell, so it'll let you know when a new video comes up. Thank you so much.